can't think of a religious tradition, actually, that doesn't emphasize the importance of prayer. For our Jewish brothers and sisters, prayer has been rooted in blessing and thanksgiving. It was a pattern, gesture, and form in sacrifice and the burning of incense, the singing of psalms and the reciting of the Kaddish for the dead, the wearing of prayer shawls and the tzitzit at the end of the shawls, and the cantillation of sacred texts. Prayer is also associated with our ordinary actions, the flow of everyday life, like the washing of your hands before a meal was done with prayer and thanksgiving. And the blessing of food and wine like we did this morning. Interestingly enough, no prayer was entirely private and personal, for prayers always lead to a sense of communal identity and the need we have of one another. Early Christian monastics taught that the whole of life was a lived prayer. Christians throughout the ages have understood that life being a sacrifice, every aspect is informed by the understanding that God is active and present. The Quran directs Muslims to pray 5 times a day. Prayer serves as a continuous reminder to Muslims of God's presence, helping and encouraging Muslims to live a good life. Buddhists don't necessarily pray to a creator God, but they do have a devotional meditative practice which could be compared to praying. It's believed that radiating loving kindness and doing loving actions to all living beings is a practice that benefits all creation. The sharing of merit for them is a practice where one dedicates the goodness of one's life to the benefit of humanity as well. Most of all the other religions call their people to prayer, to conversation with God, to relationship with a power greater than themselves, no matter what they call it. Yet there can be no relationship with another without listening. Listening, at least for us in the West, is one of the hardest things to do. We're talkers. We talk a lot. We ask a lot, as if God was some sort of enormous Pez dispenser or Santa Claus. But we need to do better at listening to that still, quiet voice, that whisper in the ear of the Spirit, that God is calling us to do something new once more. God is recalling us to our best selves, our better selves, and to love God and to love our neighbor. In Hinduism, one hears something kind of similar. This is the sum of duty. Do not do to others what would cause pain if done to you. Or in Confucianism, what I do not wish men to do to me, I also wish not to do to men. Or in the Baha'i faith, and if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. So, if we're having a healthy conversation with this great power, which many of us call God, we should not only listen, but then act on what we believe we have heard God saying to us. So, the speaking with God is prayer, the listening of God's voice is prayer, and the doing of what you hear is also an acting and overflow of prayer. God is calling all faithful people to love and to care for our neighbors more than we've done in the past. Then it's fair to say that neighborliness is the appropriate response to prayer, and acting neighborly is actually prayer itself. Just the other day, I was looking out my curtain, and I saw, and now I'm condemning myself, I just was teasing you. I was looking at my window, and I saw the telltale signs of someone moving, right? And so it was Connie, our next door neighbor. She's moving to be with her son and daughter-in-law and to spend more time with her grandkids and great-grandkids a little further away. It's been hard for the son to drive out, pick her up and bring her there, and then bring her back. So this would be just much better for everyone. But she's selling her home of 40 years. And then she said to me something I'll never forget. She said, "This home has served me well, and I'm ready to move. But now I'm sad to go. You are the best neighbors we've ever had." We just moved in February.
It's a tough neighborhood.
Well, she did say that there were some college students before me once, and there was a corrupt cop with. But anyway, I won't go into that. But this surprised me. After I gave her a hug goodbye, I started thinking more and more about our brief relationship, our conversations, our interactions, and how important it is to get to know our neighbors and to listen to their stories. Because once you hear someone's story, the story of part of their life struggles and dreams, it's easier to empathize with them and understand them, and then together seek the common good. So I was thinking of the brief time that we've been there. And we merely did what many of you probably have already done. We visited our neighbors and knocked on their doors and invited them to our housewarming. We exchanged pleasantries in the morning, and we prayed for our community in thought, word, and deed. And as we were praying this morning, asking for prayer petitions, I saw some of the same things going on. There were those who had just visited someone in the hospital, the president of your organization. And our Jewish brothers and sisters say it, and I'm going to get the percentage incorrect, I'm sure, but they said 1/24 of the pain is taken away when you visit someone who is isolated and sick. I think that's true. And many of you sitting here today can teach each other, but imagine if we took all those actions and multiplied them and concentrated on them, what our community would be like, what common ground we could find. So yesterday was the prayer day. You were one day short, but that's okay. It was the National Day of Prayer. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, should I be there Thursday morning on the National Day of Prayer? No, it's on Friday. That's okay. It's a time designated for people of all faiths to pray for our nation. I hold my faith dear, and I'm glad to be an Episcopalian, even if no one knows what it is. Most of at least half of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and many other good folks have been Episcopalians. We're part of the Anglican Communion. We're the third largest group of Christians in the world after Roman Catholics and Orthodox. And we have a story to tell and something to offer, just like all other traditions of faith do as well. Our story is that in finding common ground, in finding a middle way, you avoid the extremes. You avoid extremism, and you can avoid hate, and give to people, all people, dignity, because they're created according to our beliefs in the image of God, who is worthy of love. So the theme for the National Day of Prayer this year was, for your great namesake, hear us, forgive us, and heal us. And I can't but think that they chose that because of the sad divisions our nation currently faces. And they are sad. And I think it makes our God weep. Our nation appears to be deeply divided, and walls have been erected all around us. Yet we must not let fear and suspicion divide us and separate us. We are better than that. We are called instead to live prayerfully and create better, stronger, and more respectful and resilient communities. Living prayerfully can help us to value one another so that together we can create a more perfect union, a place of deep and profound respect for all people, a place of neighborliness, prayerful neighborliness, and a community of love. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America, and thank you for letting me be with you here this morning.